Central Bank of Nigeria recovers over 60 billion naira excess charges. Federal Inland Revenue Service bears fines on tax evaders. Plus, oil price slide as coronavirus bites economies globally. 1% of China's economy expected to be affected. This is Business Express on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA. We are reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital, and I am Muplang Dakok. It's so good to have you join us again on the program. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says it has so far recovered more than 60 billion naira from erring banks as excessive charges imposed on customers. The CBN Director of Corporate Communications, Isaac Okorafor, said the recovery of the excess bank charges was made possible through the bank's Consumer Protection Department. He added that the amount was recovered following complaints by 13,000 customers over excess and illegal charges on their accounts by banks. The bank also said it has equally returned same amount to the affected customers. This is coming just as the Apex Bank announced it had commenced a process that targets the creation of 10 million jobs in the next 5 years through investment support in agriculture using 10 commodity models. The Debt Management Office, DMO, says borrowing is necessary to finance capital projects, but the major challenge the country has is the level of revenue it is generating. Director General of the DMO, Patience Oniha, who stated this in Lagos, noted that the purpose of the finance bill is to generate revenue. She said that the government has need for borrowing to finance infrastructure, but needs to generate more revenue than it is currently generating to meet its obligations. In another development, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, has warned those in default of taxes to pay up or risk being sanctioned in line with the provisions of the Finance Act 2019. The Executive Chairman, FIRS, Mohammed Nami, gave the warning in Lagos, where he urged tax debtors to resume their payment of relevant federal taxes to avoid paying the penalties for tax default. Nami said under the 2019 Finance Act, penalty for defaulting in tax payment had increased from 20,000 naira in some cases to as high as 50,000 naira in the first instance and 25,000 naira subsequently. On the money market, the yen headed for its worst week in 2.5 years on Friday, as worries about the coronavirus spread in South Korea, Japan, and Beijing drove funds from Asia to the towering US dollar. Let's see how the naira is exchanging for other international currencies. The National Bureau of Statistics says it will embark on census of all commercial and industrial businesses with a view to providing accurate data for critical planning. The Bureau stated this at a stakeholders forum in Kaduna, and Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachikun reports.
Ikechukwu has been in upholstery business for years now without any formal registration. He is confident that proper data of businesses such as his will go a long way in enhancing productivity.
You have to be registered before you'll be doing any government contract, government work like that.
It is in recognition of the critical place of proper enumeration, data collection and analysis for policy formulation, development of commerce and industry in Nigeria that the National Bureau of Statistics is collaborating with critical stakeholders in manufacturing, poultry, tourism and hospitality, as well as amalgam of traders and artisans for the success of the planned national census of commercial and industrial businesses in all the states of the north except Kwara.
The government would like to have this information for you to be able to actually provide the necessary enabling environment for the business itself to survive.
It will enable planning, it will enable regulation of the sector, and whatever government intervention that is intended for that sector can be adequately, addressed.
The census, which is scheduled to commence soon, is expected to capture size, employment capacity, and contribution of small, medium, and large-scale businesses like that of Ikechukwu with a view to developing them.
Now let's delve into the matter for the day. The World Bank early this week said it had approved Nigeria's digital identity ecosystem project along with 5 others. This is aimed at assisting the country to empower citizens, especially marginalized groups, to access welfare-enhancing services. The National Digital Identity Ecosystem Project is focused on enhancing the national identity system's legal and technical safeguards to protect personal data and privacy. The World Bank approved the 6 projects to support Nigeria's development priorities with focus on improving immunization, providing an enabling business environment for the private sector, expanding the digital economy to promote job creation, and increasing the capacity of public and private sector on governance, social and environmental safeguards. World Bank Country Director for Nigeria says the World Bank is ramping up its support to Nigeria in its efforts to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. This is financed through an International Development Association credit of $115 million and co-financing of $100 million from the French Agency for Development and $215 million from the European Investment Bank. To discuss further on this is an economist, Yushau Aliu. Welcome to Business Express.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Okay, so you heard from the report I just read now, the World Bank has approved 6 projects towards empowering Nigerians. What do you make of this development?
The development is as a result of Nigeria being part of the World Bank. And when you are part of with this financial institution, there are benefits you can get from time to time. Okay. One good thing about it is the fact that it's a concessional intervention which the federal government has to play their own role, and at the same time looking at the coverage of our population growth. World Bank has to look into the future more frequent, because if interventions are not made, the projections made by the international organization may not yield much result. But with this kind of interventions and creating facilities to go into these economies is what will ginger the growth rate level, and at the same time looking at the agreement reached at different fora.
Okay, so the project is to empower Nigerian youths, like we've said, and then it is also to target the marginalized people in Nigeria. So how do you see this project? How do you think it's going to work out? And then how expedient is it for Nigeria's economy?
It's expedient when you look at the budget presentation of Muhammadu Buhari of 2020 budget. He mentioned one word that I underline it critically, and looking into what is going to be the results. He mentioned collective prosperity. It's any time prosperity in an economy is mentioned, you realize that it is the institutions that are getting higher profits and government is getting higher revenue, but the citizens are undercovered. And that is why the president emphasized collective prosperity. By taking this into consideration, the World Bank is trying to come not just the youth, they are just trying to target the infant population and the women in particular. When immunization is mentioned, it's not the youth, it's talking about the infant, those who are growing, those who are less privileged, those who are not protected. But by digital intervention, the economy, the world economy is going digital, and if you are not part of the digital revolution, you are carved out from any development process, and you are also carved out from any safety measures that is being taken by the digitalization process. So by getting every youth, every individual to be identified in the first instance, it means that he's being known to the government, and it is being known to the international community, and whatever help that is coming in terms of facility from the international, it will be carefully monitored. If $1 million is given to Nigeria to give medical facilities to those between the age of 0 to 10, then it is expected that if you are not part of the digital revolution, you are not safeguarded. And if you are not safeguarded, question must be asked by the United Nations, what is going on, who are the beneficiaries? So these are some of the things.
You mentioned something related to health. I was going to ask you, the World Bank is talking about projects that will also include immunization and monitoring of malaria progress and other services in the health sector. How do you see this helping out to map the economy?
Greatest challenge of any economy is the first is health, and that is why the Human Capital Development Index always talking about health, education before any other thing. So when health is mentioned, under this coverage, the tropical Africa is faced with tropical diseases. Malaria is one, and when tropical diseases are mentioned, they are taking much life and they are making people incapacitated. So in order to protect them, not only insecticide, not only giving net. Sometimes when you give net to a fisherman, he will change the same net to become a fisher net. So there is need to clearly identify the beneficiary and as well as educate them adequately on why there is need for them to be safe in an economy with a good health facilities, and at the same time to be always a part of the progress of the economy. These are some of the things I think the United Nations is trying to put on ground for development economics. Remember, all these provisions are made. Not all nations can meet the requirements set by the United Nations, but we should be happy that our economy is one of those that has qualified to get these facilities in at a critical time like this. Remember, health, education, other infrastructures, we are deficient. There is high deficit. So if there is high deficit, government must look for alternative including philanthropies and bodies like this, the United Nations.
Okay. So with the finance bill in place, how do you see the workability of these projects that we are talking about?
The Finance Act is, as we have discussed severally, is going to take Nigeria to be part of the global economy. Remember, when an economy is operating digitally, non-resident companies are not fully taken care of. For instance, if you are online, you make your transactions online, you make your purchases online, you don't pay anything to government. The same thing with the player, the seller is not paying anything to government. So this digital economy with this act, then government has better opportunities to get more revenues. Remember, in your report this afternoon, the DMO has cited that there is need to have fresh monies coming to government in order to facilitate repayment process of all the loans we have been taking from this international institution. So when more revenues is coming to government, there is going to be more proactive measures in trying to check the deficit in our infrastructures, which if it is not taken fully, there is going to be certain deficiencies and loopholes in our budgeting process.
Okay. The World Bank also talked about supporting Nigeria to help remove 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. Do you see this project helping to achieve that? And also, do you think that we are going to get there to take 100 million Nigerians?
I look at the statement upside down, because what the United Nations is telling Nigeria is that we have so much population in poverty, 100 million. That is exactly half of Nigerian population. And if half of population is below poverty rate, then there is problem in that economy. So what I think is that the information relaying to us, to government, is the fact that there is much to do from the government side, not only federal, state, local government, and other civil society organizations in trying to see what are those things that can bring change. Remember, in part of this concessional terms loan, which include creating agro centers, because predominantly Nigerian economy it depended so much on peasant farmers. So when you have a lot of peasant farmers located in remote areas where there is no access road, where there is no access to medical care, where there are not even access to financial institutions, bringing this type of these opportunities will bring them closer to the economy. And if they are closer to the economy, it makes the digital economy more efficient. And if it becomes more efficient, it means that our prosperity is just around the corner.
Okay, let's talk about data. Data is a critical instrument for the policy formulation of the National Digital Identity Ecosystem Project. How do you see the relevance or the importance of data in managing the economy?
We cannot underestimate the powers of data, because let me give you an instance with NTA now. Anybody who is going to market his product in the NTA now is targeting market. And if out of 200 million Nigerians, you targeted only 10% on NTA now, it means it just shows how your business can prosper. So data is important, but what is more important, you cannot have accurate data unless you have a very sincere census program. And that is why there is need for government to quickly come and make a national census, because you cannot go into digital economy without knowing the composition of your structures of the population, not just the number. What matters more in knowing the numbers is to know that how many percentage of populations are youth, how many percentage are of first class citizens, that is the old from 60 and above. So when you have this, you can plan your health program to the best ability that it can now transform the population. But if you don't have accurate data, it means whatever you are pumping, you are just going to be pumping. Probably you may succeed or you may not succeed. But under digital system, it is expected that it's garbage in, garbage out. Russia has done it, and they are enjoying it today. And there is no way Nigeria cannot be part of it, because, yeah.
Okay, no, don't worry. I wanted you to just round up.
Okay.
However, I'll take the last question.
Yeah.
Still on digitization, so how do you see unemployment being handled with this project?
This project that is coming to take care of various challenges in the economy. Unemployment is on the rise from the Bureau of Statistics, and the reason why unemployment is rising is a result of many factors. These factors include even security. When you are not secured, you are a farmer, you are not located within the farmland, you are unemployed already. So when you are educated and factories are not working, you are unemployed already. So there is need to coordinate to put these structures, especially what the government is trying to do under economic recovery and growth plan, where you have 6 special zones where you now specialize this and create situation that can accommodate the population and as well balance the population for prosperity.
All right. Thank you very much, Yushau Aliu.
Thank
An
you,
interesting discussion there, but we have to end it here. Moving on, Indonesian investors have indicated interest in Nigeria's food processing value chain. This forms part of discussions between Indonesian ambassador to Nigeria, Usra Hendra, and Nigeria's Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Richard Niyi Adebayo. The Indonesians are looking at artificial insemination for cattle towards increased production of milk, food, and beverages.
President Muhammadu Buhari verbally gave a green light and responded positively on the Indonesian government request for the extension of the importation of crude oil from Nigeria. Nevertheless, the process is still pending. That I wish that your able capacity and leadership can be extended to help expedite the negotiation process so that the business deal between an NPC and Pertamina can be realized and signed soon.
The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment is seeking more investments from Indonesia, given the country's experience in agriculture, mineral development, and oil.
Zones, and we have free trade zones. So the special economic zones we want to set up, we want to build industrial parks. So we're looking for people, for companies to come into those industrial parks and come and manufacture their goods there. It's 100% duty free. You bring, because it's for export market.
Okay.
So you just bring all your machinery, no duty. Bring in your raw materials, no duty. You don't pay taxes. You just manufacture and you export.
The two parties agree that strengthened trade relations will have a multiplier effect on the economy of both nations. Nigeria remains Indonesia's biggest trading partner in Africa, with $2.9 billion volume of trade as at 2018. And on the commodity market, gold on track for highest close in 7 years as investors hedge stock market highs and virus fears. And talking stocks, stocks in Asia were mixed on Friday as trade concerns linger over the economic impact of coronavirus. Bosede Abel has details.
The spread of coronavirus has continued to affect global markets as investors monitor the outbreak of the disease. Stocks in Asia were mixed on Friday as concerns linger over the continued impact of the ongoing coronavirus outbreak. For 21st February, the Shanghai Composite rose 0.31% to 3,039.67, while Hang Seng Index slipped 1.09% as of its final hour of trading. Nikkei also depreciated 0.39% lower at 23,386.74. U.S. stock index futures pointed to a sharply lower open after the number of new coronavirus cases escalated. In early trading, Dow futures were down 146 points and indicated an implied negative open of more than 128 points. Futures on the S&P 500 and Nasdaq Composite were also lower. In Europe, markets were also low. DAX depreciated 0.56%, FTSE 100 0.58%, and CAC 40 0.78%. Africa's stocks traded mixed. Namibia's overall index and Tunisia's Tunidex were positive. Nairobi's All-Share and South Africa's JSE Africa Top 40 were negative, while Ghana's GSE Composite was up marginal.
It is the last trading day for the week, and so far we have seen 4 days of losses and 1 day of gain. So today, Friday, let's have the numbers on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Okay, the NSE All-Share Index lost 0.65% this Friday and closed at 27,388.62 basis points. Market capitalization rose to 14.2 trillion naira as investors invested 421 million shares valued at 5.5 billion naira in 4,423 deals. And with the stock market report, we wrap up this edition of Business Express. Thank you for being part of it. Don't forget you can access all previous episodes on YouTube, and you can communicate with us on Twitter. The handle is @NTA News Now. The hashtag is BizX. Do join us again on Monday for another package. I am Muplang Dakok, and as I always tell you, keep thinking and doing business.